So let's do a couple more of these. Since, like I mentioned above, they are fairly tricky, so you want to be careful with these. So this one says Jace is a taxi driver. M of N models Jace's fee in dollars for his nth drive on a certain day. So M of N is modeling the fee. So what does this statement mean? M of 10 equals K. So like above, we're going to start by figuring out what do those letters represent. So we have M of N and we have N. Now N is which drive of the day we're talking about. So N is going to represent which drive of the day that Jace is on. So when you see this nth drive on a certain day, so if you replace N with 7, for instance, then it would be the 7th drive on that day. And then M of N models Jace's fee in dollars for that drive, whichever one of the day. So M of N is the fee, and again, that's going to be dollars, since he's a taxi driver. So if you see something, for instance, M of 10, the inside value, remember, that's our N value, and in this case, it's 10. So N is 10, so that means we're on the 10th drive of the day. And the function value, M of N, that's the fee for that particular drive of the day. So M of 10 is just the fee for the 10th drive of the day. And M of 10 here, notice, it's equal to K. So that means the fee for that 10th drive of the day is equal to K, and again, the fee is in dollars. So it's K dollars, whatever that is. And notice that's choice A, J's fee for his 10th drive of the day. So when N is 10, is equal to K dollars, since M is representing the fee, and that's in dollars. So A is the correct answer, but we can look at the other ones just to make sure. J's fee for his kth drive of the day and his 10th drive are equal. So for this one to be true, we would have to have M of 10 equals M of K. So now we have the kth drive of the day, and M of K is the fee for that drive, and that would be equal to M of 10, which is the fee for the 10th drive of the day. So this one's not correct. For choice C, Jace's fee for his kth drive is equal to $10. So that would be an N value of K on the inside, and that would be equal to $10, because remember, the function M represents the fee, and they're saying the fee would be $10 for that kth drive. So of course C is not correct either. So let's do one more question where we have Tessa's class had a math exam where the grades were between 0 and 10. N of G models the number of students whose grade on the exam was G, and we need to understand what this statement means. So to do that, we need to first write down what do the letters or the variables actually represent. So we have N of G and we have G. And so N of G models the number of students whose grade on the exam was G. So it looks like G represents the grade on the exam. So G is the grade on the exam. And N of G models the number of students who had that grade. So this is the number of students with grade G. So if we see something like N of 8, let's think about what this means. So the G value, notice, is replaced with 8. So in this case, G is 8. And the grades were between 0 and 10. So this looks to be an 8 out of 10 for the grade. And N of 8 is the number of students who received that grade. So this is the number of students that scored an 8. Scored an 8 on this exam. So when we look at our statement here, we have our N of 8. So that's the number of students who scored an 8. And that's going to be bigger than twice N of 5. So again, we need to understand what is N of 5. But in this case, our grade value is 5. So this is the number of students who scored a 5. So with our statement, the number of students who scored an 8 would be greater than twice the number of students who scored a 5. So when we read through the choices here, we can figure out which of these makes sense. So with A, there are 8 students whose grade was higher than twice the grade, let me move over, of another group of 5 students. Now, this one is switching the variables because the numbers 8 and 5, in both of these, those represented the scores on the exam, since the G values is the grade on the exam. So this one is not correct. Now for choice B, the number of students whose grade was higher than 5 is greater than the number of students whose grade was 5 or lower. So recall this first part is the number of students who scored an 8. And they're saying the first part is the number of students whose grade was higher than 5. So nowhere in here do we talk about grades being higher or lower than any certain value. The number on the inside just represents the exact score that those students got. So if it's 5 on the inside, that means that's the grade on the exam, and N of 5 is the number of students who got that. So B doesn't make sense. And C, the number of students whose grade was 8, so that's what this means, is more than twice the number of students whose grade was 5. So that's the number of students whose grade was 5. We're doubling it, so it's twice that amount. But the number of students whose grade was 8 is bigger than that, is bigger than twice the number of students whose grade was 5. So it looks like choice C is the correct answer here.